When did you realize some people don't deserve what they have? I entered the woodwork shop ready to start the shift, when the owner, Mr. Busby, greeted me with a proud look on his face. My grandson George is finally here to learn, he grinned, gesturing at his grandson who was leaning against the workbench, yawning as he scrolled through his phone. I wasn't sure this was the best decision, but I'd been that age once too, wandering and homeless until Mr. Busby found me. You hungry? Can you carry lumber? He'd asked. Good. You need food, and I need your two good hands. And now, at 78, with hands twisted from arthritis, Mr. Busby deserved a good retirement. He walked back to the bench, demonstrating a basic mortise joint with enthusiasm. See how the wood speaks to you? George sneezed, still scrolling through his phone while complaining, this sawdust is killing me, Grandpa. During the first week of training to run the practice, George strolled in 2 hours late carrying different excuses each time. But week 2 was much worse. Mr. Busby had brought out a beautiful handcrafted 150-year-old dresser covered by a canvas sheet and mentioned, your great-grandfather made this. See the dovetails? No nails, just perfect joints. 4 generations of our family learned on this piece. George scratched his head and walked around it with a bored expression. It's a cabinet for old people, he said, his tone clearly trying to offend. Honestly, we can just find this stuff in IKEA. Mr. Busby continued making excuses for him. He's young, he'll get it soon. But in week 3, things started off differently. A customer walked in asking for a custom dining set. My grandmother bought her wedding chest here and I want something to match it. $10,000 if you can match the quality. George's head snapped up from his phone. I get part of that, right? Mr. Busby's face brightened at his reaction. He immediately started drawing elaborate designs, explaining how they'd select each board for the perfect grain match. George set his phone down, leaned in, and actually listened. I smiled at the warm scene thinking, well, it's about time, kid. But when Mr. Busby mentioned the timeline, George pushed back from the bench. 3 months? For one table? That's like $100 a day. I could make more doing DoorDash. No thanks, Gramps. I'm not joining this one. He grabbed his keys and left Mr. Busby standing there with the sketches still in his shaking hands. Around midnight, I returned to the shop to get a jacket I had left when I found Mr. Busby struggling to complete the dining set alone. I pulled up a stool and grabbed the other end of the board he was planing. We worked in silence until he started crying. I was too hard on my son, and now I'm too soft on my grandson. I can't do anything right anymore. I placed down my tools and patted his back, heartbroken over the way he blamed himself. The morning after, while opening up the shop to find Mr. Busby collapsed at the back of the store after trying to move lumber for the dining set by himself. At the hospital, George showed up and looked at the monitors. So, this sounds like a bad time, but am I still getting paid this week? I watched that heart monitor spike and felt my hands twist into fists. I followed George out to the hospital parking lot yelling, you're a real piece of crap, you know that, kid? George spun around and looked at me like he'd stepped in mud. What did you say to me? I grabbed collar and pushed him hard against his car, causing it to beep at the impact. Do you know what I was doing at your age? Stealing food from dumpsters? Sleeping under the freeway? The words came out like punches. Your grandfather found me behind his shop, gave me work when nobody would hire a homeless kid, taught me everything, paid for my night school, co-signed my apartment. George tried to pull away, saying, good for you, now get off me, but I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone and shoved the image of the Busby furniture in the town museum. Your grandfather has arthritis because he spent 60 years perfecting skills you won't even look at. He's in there with a concussion because he tried to move lumber alone while you were at the gym. He held his hands up, trying to push me away. Look, man, I didn't know. All he wanted was for you to try. He's not teaching you to make furniture. He's trying to pass down who you are. 4 generations of mastery, and you're letting it die for what? DoorDash? I spat on his new shoes and let him go, taking in a deep breath to calm down. What do you want me to do? He asked, avoiding my gaze. Show up tomorrow. Really show up. Help him finish that dining set. Learn one thing. Just one thing before it's too late. He looked back at the hospital, then at me. Okay, tomorrow. I'll be there. But George never showed up. Not the next day. Not ever. Each day, Mr. Busby waited, working on the dining set quietly until his rheumatic arthritis took over and heart finally gave out. Broken and defeated 8 weeks later. George inherited the shop but never came back after the funeral. He just locked it up and left town.